Hey everybody, welcome to the Lesser Saints Discord, the one and only pre-show to the YouTube Saints. I know, Fat Pat and Sophie, you keep trying, but I'm not leaving. This is, oh shit, I forgot to eat shit. Yeah, oh fuck. Yeah, oh, jeez. We are on every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Even if your clock says differently, that's when we're on. And Waffle is still out doing this buffet of life thing, and I'm joined here with Rimshi, who's taking over in the meantime.
I will be here for I don't know how long, but enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Next few weeks.
All right, you wanna? Yeah, next few weeks at least. You wanna introduce our first article?
All right. Our first article has to do with the Day of Freedom.
Yes, Day for Freedom. A protest that came about after Count Dankula decided that he wanted to say a big old fuck you to the UK government and not pay his fine, and people standing up for free speech. Sargon's involved, Milo Yiannopoulos is involved. I haven't watched any of the speeches except for Dankula's yet.
I haven't seen
but
any yet.
I'm sure that'd be good.
Oh yeah. But
Dankula's speech is only like 5 minutes long. So. But it was good. There's a little freedom tear to my eye. A nice red, white, and blue tear.
Obviously, according to the title, a few scuffles broke out.
Yes.
It wasn't exactly peaceful.
Yeah, well, you know, Antifa and whatever. And as this article says, they are labeling this as a far-right rally because apparently they have given up freedom of speech as a far-right talking point and position. So let's just start with the article. So a number of scuffles broke out as thousands of people descended on London for a Day of Freedom rally that saw appearances from high-profile far-right speakers. Yes, some of the speakers are far-right. Some of them aren't. Some of them are just labeled that way. The rally, which organizers said was to defend free speech, they put that in quotes, began at Whitehall in central London at 3 p.m. with members of the right-wing Democratic Football Lads Alliance and the Veterans Against Terrorism groups in attendance. Video footage emerged on social media of a number of scuffles breaking out amid a counter-protest by anti-fascism activists. Yay, Antifa! Counter-activists were filmed chanting Nazi scum repeatedly at those attending the march as they walked by. That's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, it's far right to be a veteran against terrorists now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're calling,
despite some,
go ahead.
Go for it.
If you're calling the people who defend your right to free speech far right activists, you've gone a little loopy. On the opposing end, if you call them far left activists, same thing.
Yeah, and like one thing too. I lost it. I had something. Labeling people doesn't help. And on the people that are yelling Nazi scum, in their defense, one of these talking points that has been out is that they're not out there for just freedom of speech. They're out there to defend hate speech. Which, hate speech is free speech, people. It's just a fact. It's something that we're going to have to deal with. If we want to be able to speak freely, you're going to have to deal with some hate speech. There's no way around that other than to create a less hateful society, and you can't do that if you don't have freedom of speech.
Absolutely. The freedom to hate is freedom. hate is not an action. Hate is a emotion. Once you're preventing making it unlawful for someone to hate, you're enacting thought crime. 1984 shit right
And
there.
yeah, and I know that 1984 gets brought up all the fucking time. But I've
Especially
met
if you listen
so
to
many
Vernaculus.
people. Yeah, I've met so many people that have not read that book, and I implore all of you to read that book, please, for your
1984.
sake and the sake of everybody else.
1984, Animal Farm, and A Brave New World, ideally. But if you only read one, 1984, it is one of the most apt right now.
Yep. If you're into history, Animal Farm's a lot of fun. It's all about the Russian Revolution. And when I was in high school, we had to read 1984, but they also incorporated a game for it. It was with seniors, and it was for an entire week while we were reading 1984. We had to behave like we lived in 1984. So if you got caught swearing, you got points deducted from you. If you got caught wearing too revealing clothing, you got points deducted from you. And all it ends up doing is teaching you like what it's like to be in a truly authoritarian state. And it wasn't even stuff at school. You could be reported for stuff that you did outside of school. I knew kids that nuked their Facebook and MySpace accounts because they didn't want any of that coming back to them during this week-long period. Yeah. All right. So, despite some unrest, a number of people took on social media to state that the march remained peaceful. I'm sure it was relatively peaceful.
Especially considering the size that it most likely was.
Oh, yeah. Police said that one man was arrested in connection to a public order offense and possession of Class A drugs. Anybody from the UK in the chat, what's a Class A drug? Is that like cocaine? Hold on. I want to know what Class A drugs are.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the heavy duty shit.
Could be.
The Anti-Fascist Student Network had urged opponents to join the planned counter-demonstration, saying Tommy Robinson may be trying to reinvent himself as a journalist, but he's still pushing the same hatred. Mr. Robinson, the former leader of the English Defence League, was one of many right-wing figures who made an appearance at the event. Okay. I haven't heard much from Tommy Robinson that I disagree with, but I don't listen to all the shit that he puts out. So.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I don't know what you know about him.
Barr says Class A would be cocaine, heroin, ecstasy.
Okay. Fun stuff. Leading member of the alt-right movement, Milo Yiannopoulos. Oh, okay. And right-wing Canadian activist Lauren Southern, via video link, also spoke. Yeah, Lauren Southern's not allowed in the UK anymore.
Yeah.
So she gave a speech
via
over
video link.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Well, that's just proof that borders don't matter when it comes to ideas. When it comes to ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say. Borders matter.
Nowadays, your border wall won't prevent an idea. It may prevent a person. And it's funny that the EU would kick someone out for any reason when they're bringing all these other people in, saying, "Oh no, open borders are the way to be." Except when they disagree with us, apparently.
Yeah, that was a lot of the controversy when Lauren Southern got banned from the UK. Is that a lot of people on the quote-unquote left were saying, oh, now you're against closed borders? Ha, 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 ha. That's not the point. The UK had all the right to do that. The reason behind it, though, is she was banned for wrongthink.
Yeah.
I totally don't agree with. But that's fine. If the UK doesn't want her in there, then she can't go there. I'm totally fine with that.
It's their country, their rules. They just have to be willing to follow them, too.
Yeah, and then the article starts talking about that whole thing with Lauren Southern.
Mentioning that Count Dankula made a speech.
Yeah, that was really funny. They had a guy playing bagpipes to bring him on.
I do have to watch this speech then. This sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then a bunch of the crowd joined in and singing to one of the songs that the bagpipe player played. Yeah. Oh, by the way, for any of you that don't know, Count Dankula donated 800 pounds to a children's hospital because he's not paying that fine, and I say good on him. Fight that shit.
I agree.
As a point to say that he doesn't care about the 800 pounds and then donating it to a charity, fucking hilarious.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle.
Nope. Yep. Oh, and Graham Lynham, I know you're listening because we're pretty big. We're a huge podcast. Fucking agree to discuss this shit with Count Dankula, please. And if everybody that's watching could go and bug him on Twitter about that and tell him to do so, please do. Because Count Dankula has been trying to set up a conversation with you on a neutral platform because you have also made some quote-unquote grossly offensive jokes. And I think you should be open for a debate about those.
And the article continues to talk about Count Dankula and Mr. Robinson, and just it's pretty much at the end. There wasn't much there.
It turns into a little bit of a slam piece.
It is what it is. All right.
Yeah.
Now
I'll talk more about that next week when I've actually listened to the.
Yeah. Once there's more information on it.
Yeah. Just want to let you guys know that it happened. You should show your support.
And from London to the Koreas and the United States.
Yeah.
Why the end of the Korean War is bad news for the United States. Why
the end of a war. The end of the war is bad news.
Why would the end of war be bad news? Period. But the fact that they're saying this, that peace between the two halves of Korea would be bad for the U.S. Isn't peace what's desired?
The only thing I can think about them saying that is like North Korea and South Korea were teaming up to go against us would be the only thing, but that wouldn't. We could still just wipe them out.
Yeah, it's not gonna. We're technologically superior by a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fucked. I'm in Seattle, so that's a major zone that they would attack. But
yeah, California is pretty not safe as well.
Yeah, no, the West Coast would potentially be fucked. Oregon might be okay. There's nothing important in Oregon, except for Jeff.
Yeah, no, Jeff's important.
Yeah, and his family. I did that. Whoops.
All right. Last week, South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un met at the border between the two countries to sign a historic agreement that provides a framework for cooperation and denuclearization, which will, per terms in the agreement, lead eventually to the end of the decades-long Korean War. Sensational as this headline is, it also presents several obstacles and uncertainties. A major one being the wishes and interests of the United States, which, in spite of prevailing thought, might actually impede the peace process.
Well, we do have a problem with the military-industrial complex. Ugh. Fuck, I can't speak tonight. Yeah, we do have a problem with the whole industry behind quote-unquote war machines.
Warmongers, if you will.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think this is a net positive regardless.
Absolutely. To be sure, over the last 3 months, peace negotiations between North and South have delivered a number of firsts for the two nations, still technically at war. They reopened direct bilateral talks and fielded a joint Olympic team. Kim has made persistent diplomatic overtures to other countries, with stakes in the region, including a trip to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping and a covert meeting with Mike Pompeo, soon to be our new Secretary of State. He's got a meeting ahead with Donald Trump. The North Korean leader has also offered to have international observers come watch his government dismantle a major nuclear test facility.
Yay! So they're getting rid of nukes. Peace is being restored between the two. I'm still not seeing negative.
Potential reunification. No negative to see as of yet.
Yeah.
A real... Go ahead.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. There is a negative. The leader of South Korea said that they owe it to Donald Trump and he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, and Dennis Rodman said that Kim Jong-un had a change of heart after reading a book on Trump. I forget which book it was. It was a recent one, though.
Yeah.
Although
I forgot Dennis Rodman and him were buddies.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, they would go jet skiing together and play basketball and shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Weird shit.
Dennis Rodman probably knows some secrets.
Oh yeah, he probably knows plenty of North Korean state secrets. A real and lasting peace on the Korean Peninsula would be a remarkable achievement, and perhaps the only true good thing to happen to the U.S. on Trump's watch. But it's far from certain. First, it's not clear that Trump can even handle negotiations. His ego is a massive liability, and Kim is all too happy to see Trump lay claim to non-existent victories. Negotiations haven't even begun, and he's already let his ego get ahead of him in 2 weeks. The first one simply isn't true. North Korea hasn't technically agreed to anything, and Trump misunderstands what denuclearization means to them. And it's a Donald Trump tweet. Sleepy eyes, Chuck Todd of Fake News NBC just stated that we have given up so much in our negotiations with North Korea, and they have given up nothing. Wow, we haven't given up anything, and they have agreed to denuclearization. So great for world, site closure, and no more testing. Earlier in the article, didn't they say that they agreed to or invited a group of international observers to watch them dismantle a large test site?
I believe so.
Yeah. Why would you suddenly contradict what you're saying by saying he hasn't technically agreed to anything. Or maybe they're just trying to use newspeak to weasel.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, right now they have a declaration of peace, but there's nothing that's, like, set in stone yet. No contracts have been signed, nothing's truly set in stone for this peace agreement. So maybe that's why they're saying it. They're just looking at the subtext of that.
Yeah. But despite that, there have been plenty of firsts, including both North and South Korea removing heavy artillery from the demilitarized zone and removing propaganda devices such as loudspeakers and leaflets from the demilitarized zone. Both presidents within seconds stood in both, or both leaders within seconds stood in both North and South Korea. Shook hands, and crossed both borders.
It's how
they're trying. It's kind of funny how, and I'm no supporter of Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of funny how weeks ago it was all of the bad stuff that is going to happen in the Koreas is all because of Trump. It all falls on his head, and now that good things are happening. Nope, he had nothing to do with it, despite what they say.
Yeah. It's not like Kim Jong-un actually got the treatment he deserved by having somebody stand up to somebody else who's essentially a bully. Because a lot of things that Kim Jong-un did was he would threaten to bomb South Korea if people didn't send food. And so...
And then he'd make promises if they did, and then break those promises.
Yeah, so other leaders have caved and ended up sending him food. And then it just became this endless cycle. And then Trump came along, and once again, I did not vote for Trump. I do not support him. But this was a good move on his part. And he said, no, fuck you. Stop what you're doing. That's essentially what he's been saying. And then he talked some shit on Twitter. And apparently Kim Jong-un read a book about Trump. And I think part of it is that he doesn't know if Trump is bluffing or not about just wiping North Korea off the map.
Yeah. I'm
not sure.
They're also trying to say that Trump's ego is going to get in the way, using this tweet as an example. Numerous countries are being considered for the meeting, but would Peace House/Freedom House on the border of North and South Korea be a more representative, important, and lasting site than a third-party country? Just asking. And while that does have some ego to it, it's not a bad thought. And it's not wrong either. Potentially it would be more representative and important.
Yeah. I think the whole idea of having other countries come and being a third party to observe it is just sort of... It's like getting a neutral party to come in and kind of make sure that everything's on the up and up between the two sides.
And I get that, but at the same time, I can completely see where he would be coming from. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. It's pretty... I'm going to put that in the neutral idea category.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not necessarily good either. It makes sense either way.
And they're going on to say that Kim's plan is obvious. They're going to pretend that Trump is winning, and he'll have illusions of grandeur with the Nobel Peace Prize, and he'll overcommit too early, and now Kim has all the power in his court. You're talking about a businessman.
Yeah.
The deal's not done until the ink is dry. But
the deal's not done until it gets a notarized stamp.
This is a pretty long article, but it's just going through all of the different ways that Korea might win out because of this, and the U.S. will lose. But we should probably move on to our next article, which
Yeah.
is not necessarily the most fun one.
And I'll have links for these articles in the description.
Yeah,
Probably
feel free to
tomorrow
go
or
check
Tuesday.
it out.
But it's not going to be until tomorrow or Tuesday until I get these. But yeah.
The next article takes place in North Ireland. Not a happy one though, as woman critical after drilling attack in Strabane. That's probably
And I
mispronounced.
know what some of you are thinking. It's not the sexy type of drilling that we're talking about. Far from it.
No, not a pleasant thing to hear about.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind this is an updated article. In the previous article, it said that this kid was charged with possession of.
I think it mentions it near the end of this article as well.
Okay.
A 38-year-old woman is in a critical but stable condition after being attacked with a cordless drill in Strabane County, Tyrone. The incident happened in the Railway Street area at about 2 BST on Saturday morning. Police said a 17-year-old boy was being questioned by detectives. They said the victim sustained a very serious head injury, and they were exploring a possible homophobic motive for the crime. They have appealed for information and video footage of the incident. Detective Sergeant Brian Reed said, "This was a brutal attack, and the injuries sustained by the victim are extremely grave."
Yeah. I want to, like, what was he? Was he, like, pulling the trigger and, like, trying to drill holes in her?
That's apparently, from what I read on other articles, he was holding her down, and they're sitting there saying that it was a one-person attack. So he was sitting there holding her down with probably his body and one arm and legs, while on the other side he was holding a drill that he was trying to drill into her skull. Yeah, not pleasant.
You know, there's people that do that recreationally.
Yeah.
Like holes in their skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this doesn't sound like the fun mind explorer stance on it.
SDLP assembly member for West Tyrone, Danielle McCrossan, said it was one of the most horrific incidents he had learned of during his time as a politician. It is a monstrous attack and one that has sent shockwaves across the entirety of the wider Strasbourg community today, he added. I actually felt sick that this could happen.
I don't like that language. Sending shockwaves. Somebody was attacked. It's a horrible thing, but people get attacked all the time. Maybe this is a nice community, and I'm just missing some context about that. But I mean, when it sounds all, I just don't like the language that's used to say that things are. It's a bad thing. I do have to preface with that, but it's not as extreme as people are saying, unless there's more in the article that gives us more context.
Yeah, there's not much left to this article.
Yeah.
A council member, Chris Smith, said the attack was despicable, which is true. This was an absolutely brutal attack. It is hard to comprehend what goes through an individual's head that they would attack a woman with a drill. And this is honestly horrible. Like, the kid was potentially being charged with being a gross what was the term again?
With possession of an offensive weapon in public.
That's right.
Oh no, I'm offended by your weapon. How would you pick one that's less offensive? I don't fucking get it.
It probably means something different in Britain. But yeah.
Well, it seems like all their laws revolve around offense nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. The boy was charged with causing grievous bodily harm with intent.
Yeah.
It's a horrible situation. There's nothing more to that.
In reference to the chat, sorry to Kelsey. We do have drill attacks in the U.S. Guns have no point in that. And I said the G word. Fuck. Guns have no point in that. There are drill attacks. There are hammer attacks. There are knife attacks. There are belt attacks. There are piano wire attacks. There are attacks of all sorts of different kinds. But banning things don't necessarily make a difference. Which leads us into our next article.
Which, pull in our guest, and I will switch us over.
All right. Let me just pop on over here. Getting our nice guest, Bart. And for once, you guys, we are not going to talk about guns and gun laws.
Or at least I'm not.
Knives.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lesser YouTube Saints.
Are you going to redo the intro for me?
No.
Welcome, Bart.
Well,
how's your day going?
Going very well, thank you, and it's an honor to be here again.
Yeah. One of our favorite guests.
Yeah, so we are here to talk about knives in Britain.
Yes.
Well, I have no huge opinion about Britain, but I do have a lot of opinions on knives, as you guys are sick of hearing. Let's move on.
No, they're sick of hearing me talk about my preferred subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, the G word.
Home deliveries to be banned for online knife sales in Britain. So what are your thoughts on that one?
I think that, again, people are much in a hurry to try and find an easy solution to a very complex problem. I like knives are tools. The problem is the use that's being given to them. There's clearly violence issues. Which
I think this is going to fuck over Squiggy's new job.
Unless there's expansion into the UK for sure. Please go on. You want to cover the article first before.
All right. Yeah. You want to start on this one then?
No, you guys can.
I was talking to Jables.
Yeah. I'll do this.
Oh. I'm usurping this show already. I barely went on.
Online shoppers buying knives could be forced to collect them in person in England and Wales if plans to stop children purchasing blades go ahead. It is already illegal to sell knives to under 18s, but young people have been able to buy them online, according to the Home Secretary. Monitor what your kids do online, you fucks.
Yeah.
New measures would prohibit blades from being delivered to a private property. Instead, customers would have to collect it from a physical shop, where retailers would check their identity. So that's like the gun laws here. God damn it! I can't stop. Can't stop.
I have under said current nothing law, on it
yet. Yep. Under current law, it is illegal to sell a blade of more than 3 inches, 7.62 centimeters for you fucking fucks, to anyone under 18. but reports have warned online age verification checks can be sidestepped. Oh shit. How many of you in the chat have clicked yes, I'm over 18 on a website? I want to see some ones for that. Better all be ones. Twos if you haven't. Under current... Okay. In Scotland, 16 to 18-year-olds are allowed to buy cutlery and kitchen knives. The courts dealt with more than 19,000 knife possession cases in England and Wales last year. The highest number since 2011. Holy shit. That's a lot of... That's a... homicide. Okay, and then there's some links to some other articles about how knife crime rates are up. And at the moment, you have to do it by the click of a button. What we are proposing is that if you want to buy a knife online, it has to be collected from a place where you have to show your ID. Home Secretary Amber Rudd explained. We have evidence that young people have been able to buy knives without verifying their ID, and I want to stop that. How about you solve the bigger problem about the violent crime going up, as opposed to just banning the knives? I don't... Wow, I never thought of a day when I'd have to talk about knife control.
Prohibition doesn't work. Look, at least in America, prohibition doesn't work. Look at the alcohol prohibition. That did not work. In fact, more people died as a result of lack of regulation as to the quality of the alcohol than did before. The violence was far less before and after prohibition.
During Prohibition, they were also like cutting alcohol with things like formaldehyde and shit.
That's my point. Due to the lack of regulation, they were able to put those dangerous chemicals in there because, hey, we cut it. That now they can drink it, and we get more for the same.
Yeah, and that's why we're having a huge crisis with heroin addicts and having fentanyl mixed in.
The drug war.
Yes, the drug war in general.
Everybody
should know by now. I am for the legalization and regulation of all drugs. I'm going to say that out here on a live show on the internet. That is a stance that I am firm on.
I will second that.
Yeah.
Peer pressure bar.
Also, yeah. Bar talks about this. I'm not sure if he's on the same boat as me entirely, because I'm going like as far as legalizing meth.
Yeah,
shit.
I would agree. It's better to have it out there and legal. That way people can seek help for the issues than it is to keep it hidden. That's the way I look at it.
Anyways, we're talking about knives, not drugs this week.
Or my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also on this.
We have to address these stabby teens. Boy, put them
we have evidence. We have evidence that young people have been able to buy knives without verifying their ID, and I want to stop that. Calls to review online sales intensified after the fatal stabbing of Aberdeen schoolboy Bailey Gwynn in 2015. Don't know who that is? I don't care. The teenage killer, who was jailed for 9 years, had bought the knife online. An inquiry that followed the case recommended further legislative controls on the purpose of weapons online. Ms. Rudd also said almost 3/4 of online retailers which should carry out age verification checks are not doing so. One, under 18, was able to get a knife by having it delivered to their mother's shed, the Home Secretary added. So, Bar, there's a picture in this article. I don't know if you have the article up for yourself.
Give me a second. I'd lower it. Yeah, I've seen I've seen those things.
They're not knives.
Quote
they're
unquote
things.
Knives. Things.
Yeah. Down in the bottom, right? There's a nice little box cutter.
Yeah, everything in that list definitely is offensive. It has to be confiscated.
Well,
every single
to you.
Yeah.
Why in a knife ban do they have an axe though?
It's a blade, I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'm surprised they don't have a spork there at this point.
No, wouldn't that be a spife, a spork, fork spoon knife?
Well, yeah,
I-
I've seen one of those.
I mean, if it can possibly be sharpened, let's just confiscate it already. You know, it's just an 80% knife.
Yeah. By the way, chat.
here's a
Yeah,
joke.
nine. By the way, chat. 9 years for murder. Yeah, that's too short. But it's the UK. They don't know what they're doing apparently.
It's a young boy. He didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, it probably had something to do with him being a minor.
I don't know anything about the case. I don't know anything about the case, so I can't say too much about it. But
If I had to guess, I'd say it had to do with him being a minor.
Yeah. Now he goes behind bars and he learns to stab people properly. Then when he comes out, he can do it like a pro.
Yeah.
See?
Now you can do it in 1 shot instead of 7.
Yeah.
Cynic,
best
leave the
boy.
Nighthawk alone. It's not a terrible knife. Oh. Is he talking about the one with the green paracord handle?
But you better not. I don't even know what he's referring to. You should be ashamed for knowing what anything in that picture even is.
Well,
Actually,
hold on. No, there's a box cutter.
Okay.
That's a useful little tool.
That's one tool.
There's it looks like a butterfly knife and
Hashtag not all. Okay.
That looks like half a butterfly knife. Looks like one of the handles is missing.
Oh, that's true. That's definitely a stiletto knife.
That's
of some
high
sort.
quality right there. The Newton survived confiscation.
No.
Is
Did you
that
guys see the?
is that short? Go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, there was an article came out. They confiscated a toy gun, and yeah, it was a toy gun, and
Nah, Jables, we're going to the G word again.
I forget. Toy though. Jesus Christ! It was in the UK.
How is it I have more self-control? How is it I have more self-control when it comes to that subject than you do?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay, fine.
Because this is a relatable subject, and it's the only thing I know to compare it to. Yeah. All right. So ministers also want to give police in England and Wales power to seize banned knives.
Oh,
I don't know how. I don't know how to ban a knife. By banning the possession of outlawed weapons such as zombie knives and knuckle dusters. Are those just brass knuckles?
Yeah.
Knuckle dusters?
Yeah.
And derivative fist loads, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Same
by banning
idea.
those outlawed weapons on private property, officers would be able to seize them and make arrests. Ms. Rudd said this would help begin to break that cycle of danger and violence that's so blighting communities. No. Those who keep weapons for legitimate purposes, such as cultural items or antiques, would not be penalized. The proposals will be considered as part of a consultation to be launched later this year. Okay, so if it's a cultural item, I come from a culture that loves knives. Done. Period.
I think it might be
keep on my knives?
to historical collection pieces
Yeah.
and such, or even someone in the chat mentioned one of the blades there is a kirpan, which is like I do believe a Sikh dagger, which is part of their religion to carry one on their person, which means this is going to infringement of religious beliefs.
Yeah.
This is going to be cute because apparently they do have a large Sikh population there.
Chic?
Sikh?
No, that's Sikh or Sikh.
S-I-K-H?
S-I-K-H, yeah. How do you pronounce that in English? For those of you who don't know, English is my second language.
Yeah, shocking. It is definitely shocking. We all know. You speak better than some of the native speakers I've met. So.
Yeah. That would be Sikh.
Sikh. Okay.
Yep. Watch that list. I gotta give you shit, Bar. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Everyone gets their share. Seek. Thanks, Giovanna. That helps. I mean,
Yeah.
getting like not going into absolutes. Yeah, they want greater restriction because they want to be able to curb, although misguidedly, the violent incidents taking place in the UK. So the best way to appear to be doing anything is just to say, well, this is illegal. Anyone we find with knives, I'm going to confiscate them and you're going to be committing a felony. It gives the message to the public that they're being hard on these things and doing something about it. While pressed by a media that keeps sensationalizing the issue of violence. Again, the overall contours of this whole thing are probably all too familiar to you guys in the States with the other thing.
Yeah. Well, there
The
was
same
an issue
principle,
where,
more or less, but
yeah, there was when Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, said that there's no reason why anybody should have a knife at all, and
God. Yeah.
and if you're caught with one, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. There's lots of reasons for people to have knives. I want to open up a box that I got from Amazon.
No, but that's one of the things I feel culturally people have become disassociated from the immediacy of work. I mean,
Yeah.
a metropolis like London is pretty much a post-industrial, service-based economy for the most part. Only a few people still work with their hands and use tools to any capacity. And this sort of sheltered kind of thinking installs themselves in a surprisingly large number of the population. Politicians, being populists for the most part, try to play off of that. Because that guy heard enough people saying, oh, there's no reason for people to be carrying a knife because none of them can figure out a reason, God forbid. They would need a knife, so nobody needs a knife, therefore nobody gets to have a knife. It's that whole thing of if I've never done drugs, if I never wanted drugs, I could easily just decide all drugs are evil. Nobody gets to have drugs, and there's no reason for it.
Don't do that. Don't say things like that.
Yes. But again, it's just the attempt of tacking the appearance of a solution to a problem that's just going to keep escalating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true in any subject.
But even a service-based economy, you still have restaurants. You need knives in a restaurant.
But that's the thing. When it's an easy sentiment to echo until you start breaking it down, and then you start saying, "Oh wait, I need a knife in my house, in my kitchen, to prepare food. Oh, when I go to a restaurant, I need to use cutlery. Oh, if I work in a storage facility, I need to open boxes all day. I'm going to need a box cutter. Oh. Then all the exceptions start cropping up. You know."
Yeah.
Or what about I'm an outdoorsman. I go hunting and camping and fishing. How am I going to dress game? You know?
Yes.
It's the whole immediacy of just trying to say, oh, wait, you guys, we have it. We have the answer. God fucking forbid any kind of nuance to the subject and discussing it maturely. Also, going into what the knife crime is, why the homicides are being committed, where they're being committed. You know, trying to understand violence does not occur in a vacuum.
Yeah, we can kind of blame America for a lot of the UK's violent crime, though, because it was the gang culture here that a lot of people over there to start doing the same shit.
Yeah, but there have been pictures, like, I'll pull this up right now. Give me a second to save this.
Certainly.
And oh god.
Again,
I will pull it up on it. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll pull something up real quick.
Yeah, but
prime example.
I mean, you can install laws forbidding the use of knives as an offense to be able to incarcerate, detain, go after violent offenders, but that's not going to keep them from trying to seek out weapons. If anything, they're just consider, damn it, let's just go for it. I don't care how big of a knife. They're all illegal. I'm just gonna carry wherever I can get, in for a penny, in for a pound. Or they're just gonna get more creative, as the other news you were sharing with fine folks about drills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prime example here.
Oh,
Yeah.
this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that tweet.
My God, that arsenal. You're clearly dealing with a professional assassin there.
Yeah,
There's no excuse for
hide your
having any of
toolbox
that
as
in
you
your
can.
house.
That's.
the only thing remotely a blade in there is the scissors.
Yeah, but those are fabric scissors. Regardless, that's for like when you're doing sewing and shit.
Mm.
And then you've got
Clearly,
situations like that one story where the guy, the old man, his house was broken into, and he defended his home, and yet because the perpetrator had a screwdriver on him that the homeowner used to defend himself with, and the perpetrator died, the homeowner got arrested with potential for manslaughter or third degree murder, something like that.
this is the elderly gentleman.
Yeah, the elderly gentleman got arrested
Oh,
for murder.
that's not quite the contours of the court. No, no, he was not charged, but he is
No, no.
facing
Yeah, he
he's
was.
facing reprisals from the family of the murdered
Well,
man.
actually, initially, according to the articles, at least, he was he was put under arrest or something for that, and it was pulled away.
Arrest, then they looked into the circumstances.
Yeah, but the fact that
And
he
it
was
was to be
even
self-defense, but then he needed to go into protective custody, and he will likely not be able to return to his own home.
yeah, it's absurd because
It is.
it's at the point where you can't protect your own home. That's just not right. I mean, they have knife surrender bins in England.
Again, it's the idea of appearing to do something.
Yeah.
Any idea they can just throw at a wall, it seems like it's something they're putting into place, because, again, it would be far harder and ruffle a lot more feathers to just discuss the fact that you have overly packed projects of highly volatile, disenfranchised youth and crime. And it's not in that situation isn't going to change anytime soon, unless you actually start reinvesting in social policies again. And that costs real money. It takes real work to give these kids an incentive not to go into, gangs, getting involved with drugs, then having to knife each other for pocket change. Which, again, a lot of this knife violence is gang connected there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, again, violence does not occur in a vacuum. People do not want to understand the causes, but then want to complain about the consequences. So it's a lot easier to just blame the tools, the means in this case, which coincides with the knives. And it's ultimately futile. Because again, it's like you're trying just to get like a leak in a pipe. You can just put towels down and buckets everywhere. There's only so much water you're going to be able to contain at some point to really solve the source.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, had to wade through the sea of beer cans.
Yeah. Yeah. I got lost.
You needed a machete there to hack away at the debris.
Would have been disallowed in the UK.
Yeah.
And I got the article said they're banning any knives over 3 inches, correct?
The
So,
possession of knives
yeah, any
over 3
blade
inches.
more than 3 inches are that's kind of stupid. That's like saying, okay, I am going to ban you from
To be fair, the article might be incomplete because, and again, I don't live in the UK, so I'm not sure either way. But here in Portugal, the idea is
well,
you can have any knife you want, any bladed implement you want, provided you have a legitimate use for it. Basically, again, if you're like camping or on your way to or on your way back, and you have like large large hunting knife, you can present a good justification for having on your person. It won't get confiscated.
it does
But
also
if you have any
specifically
blade
state,
over 10 centimeters for which you can provide a good reason for having on your person,
well, it
being
does,
work,
yeah, on your
hobby
person.
related, it's getting taken away from you.
But the fact that it's any blade more than 3 inches is prohibited from sale to anyone under 18. You're talking about blades that are less than 3 inches are legal to sell to people who are under the age of 18? Because
Apparently.
that's like saying, okay, you can't have a backpack that will uh no, that's not fair.
No, the idea being that
You
to
can
be
do a
able to,
lot of damage with a
there's
3 inch blade.
yeah, you can, but
Yeah.
as you know, the idea being most people with a knife are going to try and stab you. The limitation on length is to prevent you to being able to get to the vitals. I mean, if you, in the right hands, you can use a 2-3 inch blade to do a lot of damage
Oh
if you
yeah.
know what you're doing. But that's not most people, anyway.
Well, the important thing with a three
Again,
inch
they
blade
go
is you
over
just
like
have to know where to stab.
exactly. There's a number of arteries you can go for,
And
which
even
we
if you
won't
don't
go over.
even if you don't
That's got
kill
to be a
instantly,
premium video, folks.
you
That's for
just
later.
you just aim for the jugular and you keep going there, you'll do a lot of damage. And that's
Yeah.
You'll hit it
honestly
eventually.
unfortunate.
That's,
But
Yeah,
to
but again,
say that you
that's
can't
a
do
whole.
the
If you
same
keep
amount of
at it,
damage
yeah,
with
you'll get it
something over
right.
3 inches,
But you can always get your hands on something if you really want to. This isn't exactly like
you can
other
make
weapons of complicated, mechanical parts. I mean, they can make knives in prison. They can make, they can jury rig something.
they can make crossbows in
Oh, yeah.
prison.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. All it takes is some newspaper, an elastic waistband, and
Again, making not. I'm surprised. If anything else, like you said about prohibition, just is gonna
Yeah.
create a whole cottage industry of people just selling, knives illegally
and
and
some
producing them.
very
Someone's gonna make
creative
money
people.
off of it. Yeah. Oh, totally. You're not gonna take away the tools to make them anytime soon.
I made a shank out of a pine cone once.
What?
Yeah. I mean, again.
Oh, have you seen that ad for a knife sharpener that says it can sharpen anything? And it's got the dude's cutting a tomato with a credit card. Where's your
Yeah.
knife control now, England?
Yeah. No, I can cut you with my credit card and then buy a knife with a credit card. Yeah. I mean, plastic like that, it won't stay sharp for long, but it'll stay sharp long enough
To
for
do
you to
some
use
damage.
Oh, it's the same thing
Yeah.
like a screwdriver. Just, scribbling along concrete, you'll have a good enough shift to start poking a guy with if you have to.
I wonder what their stance is on ice picks.
Oh, they'll probably go. But again,
I
it's the
don't
whole
think
thing.
I would be surprised if many people in England still had ice picks.
Yeah, well, no. They're a drinking country. You gotta chip off the pieces off the block of ice.
You're just gonna have to get.
That would be the only saving grace, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and some of their
just use ice cube trays.
propaganda is absurd. Like,
Yeah,
apparently
it gets cringy.
this spans back to 2015, but it's a black black silhouette of a knife. Here, I'll just screen capture this, or but it's just knives cost lives, and it's a black silhouette of a right there.
I mean, people, again, the principle being if people want to get invented enough, there's a ton of things they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a joke about me making a shank out of a pine cone. I know how to make a taser out of a disposable camera.
Oh, yeah, all that fun stuff. There's so much you can do.
Yeah.
And again, somewhat from the moment that you just don't give a shit about the law. You're just gonna go to. I know a bloke.
What? Cynic
Well,
says a
a lot
guy
of
got
you-
caught a few years ago for a spud peeler.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just a week or two ago.
Sharpened glass, a weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
Didn't he also get in trouble for? Didn't he also get in trouble for appropriating Irish culture?
You know, in England, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been a huge fan of improvised weapons since I was a kid. Because
when you can't have it, you'll find a way to get them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figuring shit out. If not that, the people just bash each other's heads in with hammers. Or, go into the hardware store, see what you can get. Drilling attacks.
Yeah.
Again, you need to focus on who and why.
Yeah, and the why is a big one.
Why, a huge one. And again, it's a complicated issue that they do not want to address. The appearance of solving a problem is far more crucial to the political machine than actually resolving something which will take, I don't know, more than an election cycle.
Yeah. And my general stance is it always comes back to mental health.
There's a lot here. Yeah, the cases which can be just connected to criminal offenses. Again, the gang solving disputes, whatever.
Yeah.
It's connected to, alcohol abuse, mental illness. Again, population too cooped up and under pressure. Bad shit's bound to happen.
Well, if I were to listen to my dad, which I do from time to time, he's a firm believer that the downfall of society is the elimination of the front porch. And what he means by that, it's that people used to sit on their front porches. They used to know their neighbors. They used to know their community and stuff like that.
For sure.
when you don't know your neighbors and you don't know your community, it kind of dehumanizes the rest of the people living around you.
Oh yeah, it's no coincidence. A lot of there are people in our Discord chat who live in the UK who could attest to this far better. Just the rollback.
No, let's
but
not bring that in. Let's just talk about their country without them.
Yeah, sure. Well, they're asleep by now. I'm just the insomniac who's up at 2:30 a.m. their time. I wake up early. But basically, the rollback of social programs and whatnot, and like you were saying, giving these people the ability to interact as a proper community. Even just the liaison between local law enforcement and the populations they're supposed to be patrolling.
Oh yeah, a lot of people in the Discord saw my photo that I took with a couple cops that showed up at the Cinco de Mayo party I was at last night.
Oh yeah, you got that one down pat. Clearly.
Yeah. And it's so those parties that I go to, they're definitely parties, but they're also like it's the neighborhood that all gets together and we party together and listen to live music and stuff like that, and you get to know people in your neighborhood, which is super cool. And there's a lot of people in my neighborhood that I don't see other than when we're at that party. I think it's a really healthy thing for our neighborhood to have those. I was going to make a point, but I lost it. So.
What you were saying about your dad was saying the porch theory.
Yeah, well, and
the interaction among the community. Again, yeah, there are social. Absolutely, there are social factors here. A multitude of them, range of spectrum. And again, not any one measure is going to sort this.
No.
And clearly, they're focusing on the ones that will produce the most visible exposure, but the least amount of actual impact.
Well, it comes down to, it's more about...
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the people making these laws and doing these speeches are going to go back to their own private gated communities, and they have policemen protecting them, and they don't have to be exposed to the actual violence that's affecting the public that they claim to protect. And why people feel insecure, and a few of these youth take up carrying knives because they feel they need to, because they feel unsafe themselves. And when everything's happening around you, there is the all too familiar and, I'd have to say, understandable impulse of, well, I'm living in a violent environment. Maybe I need to take care of myself. Yeah. So I can't blame them for the feeling, even if I do feel that they're not taking the right measurements.
Well, we were kind of talking about this earlier, Bart, about how self-defense is a human right.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't be expected people to just collaborate in being victims to violence. But we should also give them the appropriate access to training, the correct tools in order to protect themselves. I mean, a huge part of self-defense is a situational awareness. Being able to understand the context of a violent altercation as it begins to unfold. Before you're trapped in it and don't know what the fuck happened to you. By then it's too late. B, the tools for de-escalation when possible. Which again seems to be another issue here. And due to the immense pressure in which people end up being put in. Some of these cases happen in terms of conflict.
Okay, I have a quick question. What the hell's a knife wand?
I think they're referring to metal detective.
Probably.
Detectors. Portable metal detectors.
But the fact that they're calling it a knife wand, because that's its entire job, is let's check for knives.
Well, either that or the UK government now has a protocol with Hogwarts. Being supplied with special knife wands to wave at the criminals. Just make the knife go away. A Jarmus. There they go. Pretty good.
Nephicus Armicus.
Yeah. Protection against the stabby arts.
Yeah.
They have a new cheat shirt every year.
Yeah.
You know, one kid gets lucky.
Yep. There's a lot of students. One kid's bound to get lucky.
Yeah. You know, the entire class. Just rushing the teacher. Which shows. See, that's why knife wands don't work, kids.
Yeah.
It's some of this stuff is just.
Yeah. It's like it's getting to the point when I'm guessing you're gonna be hearing about people just buying stab vests from now on.
Yeah, and this image on the screen is like a live feed. It's not. It's not like I have a Photoshop picture. I'm actually on Twitter right now looking at this.
I mean, and we both know there are materials you can just sharpen to a good enough point or put an edge on.
Oh,
they have ceramic knives, which are great.
Well, good enough to get the job done if you need to.
Also, anybody who's curious, impromptu stab vest, you can just use stabs magazines.
And again, just instead of just taking kids off of taking knives away from kids, you need to give them a reason not to stab each other in the first place.
Yeah. Pomeros was saying that I was doing some commie talk earlier. That's, yeah, maybe it's commie talk. Maybe promoting communities to talk to each other and actually give a shit about each other.
Yeah.
It's a commie talk, yeah. Sure. Then I'm a fucking commie.
Yeah. I mean, the shocking concept that I'm not going to try and kill someone I care about.
Yeah.
Well,
not going to steal packages off my neighbor's porch because I know who they are. And they know me.
Yeah, there's definitely issues like this. Like, again, the disenfranchisement and just no guidance for a lot of youth. Older role models present in the community. So, look, this is not how you sort things out.
Yeah, honestly, with the internet, I think that's going to change because people that don't have strong male role models will look towards people on the internet.
Hopefully, they look for the right people on the internet.
Yeah, they'll be looking for.
Hopefully.
They'll be looking for people like Stephen Molyneux or Joe Rogan, strong male role models.
Yeah, and if they look towards Joe Rogan, I have no fucking problem if people are taking on Joe Rogan as a role model.
Yeah, I'm not putting any value to their character. That's why I specified strong male role models. They are they are strong personalities and they can be seen as male role models. I would agree with making Joe Rogan your male role model. I would disagree with Stephen Molyneux.
Yeah, I mean, there's Peterson, who's definitely have a lot of appeal.
I would have less
among the
issue
youth
with Stephen
a voice that, but again, we can't deny, but he's a proof that there is demand for a voice to lay out reason and give them guidance and structure.
Yeah, when it comes to Jordan Peterson, I don't have a problem with some people looking towards him as a role model. Mm-hmm. In general, there are plenty of things that I disagree with Jordan Peterson on.
Yeah.
We've had long discussions about this.
Yeah,
but
not to get
from a psychiatrist's perspective, he really does set out like things that people should do for sure to make themselves better.
And I bring him up for the purpose of he refers a lot to the fact that there's there's an interpersonal interaction between men has an inherent connotation of violence. It's ingrained into us, and if that's not cultivated in a positive fashion, it's going to come out in a very negative fashion.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's also part of it. Again, we live in a detached society more and more. And then when these things get left out to their own devices, there is nothing that can happen if not for them to go horribly wrong.
This is a random thing that came out of alcohol prohibition in the U.S. Is that bars used to be male spaces almost entirely. Like men and women didn't go out to drink together. But during prohibition, in order to get a drink, you have to go out together because there's only one place to get it. And so it actually created a whole... Yeah. It created this whole culture of men and women going out together and getting drinks and dancing together and stuff like that, as opposed to men just going out together and shooting pool or playing card games or whatever.
Exactly.
It was a weird thing that I read up on a long time ago. I forget where I read it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You can't stand on the prohibition. Prohibition will change things, but not necessarily for the way you want it to.
Yeah, again, they're just trying for an immediate stopgap. That'll buy them enough time and seem to be doing something.
Yeah.
And, whatever happens later, well, We'll figure it out.
At this point, it's for the political clout, just like the issues we see in America. It's more the
Yeah,
instant solutions are more for political purposes than they are for reality.
I would agree with that 100%.
Oh
There
yeah.
is no real intent here to actually deal with this situation.
A
So
good
much as,
example.
oh, we'll see what happens, and maybe, other things will happen that let
A,
this team
a,
go on. Then we can just claim credit for it going into place.
yeah, a good example with that would be the congressional hearing with Mark Zuckerberg. He wasn't under
Mm,
oath. Most of them softballed the hell out of him, and yet
indeed.
for a short period of time there, it caused Facebook stock to start going up because it looked like he was
Mhm.
smacking them down left and right, at least to the layman.
To the whammons.
The
Layman, not
layman.
whammon.
The
I thought you said the
layman.
whammon.
The layman did it. Did you know that Mark Zuckerberg is an android, Madrid?
He's
Did you guys know that Mark Zuckerberg is a whale?
no. Mark Zuckerberg is more closely related to Data from fucking Star Trek Next Generation than he is related to
Yeah.
anything else mythological.
Yeah. Did you guys know that Mark Zuckerberg's a sad one? There, is that better?
Yeah. But it's all about optics. There's a crime problem involving knives in London. Oh no.
Oh, the poor people are stabbing each other again. Oh, bother. Shouldn't have knives,
Wouldn't be a problem if you had better relations between the generations.
Yeah, among other things, but the
Yeah.
important thing is they show they care.
Yeah.
And showing you care is so important.
Let's not put actual money into solving the problem. Let's put a smaller amount into making it look like we're working on the problem.
Do you think they're going to put a knife buyback program in place?
They already
Oh
have,
my
I
God.
think. So.
That's gonna incentivize the whole industry.
No, I know they have.
Sure.
I know they have knife depositories where you can drop off your knives and then it's collected by the police. But
I think they have actually had knife buyback programs. I could be wrong, but I think they have.
I can just see some guy in a basement with pieces of rebar and a knife just filing away to make shanks.
Yeah.
Going to collect money. Some
Yeah.
enterprising young man.
Or somebody just goes around and starts stealing everybody else's knives.
No, just a bunch of crap knives. And, well, now I can buy a really good one.
Yeah.
Again, this whole thing about simplistic solutions to complicated problems. You get
Meteor,
horse
what's
shit
a
happening.
muzzy?
Oh, I
It's a
think you.
Muslim.
Yeah,
It's a what?
there'd be even less stabbings if you kicked out all the muzzies too.
It's a derogatory term in the UK for a Muslim.
Oh. No, that's how you end all the acid attacks.
No. You don't understand. You have to respect their culture.
The
That's a
acid
whole
attack
other
is an
issue, see?
important part of their culture. You must respect it.
Mm.
Yeah, in some places it's offensive, in some other places it isn't. Sometimes it's just shorthand. Like they refer to people from Pakistan as Pakis, but that's offensive in some areas. It's offensive here in America. I know I've been called out for that. I'm just adopting the UK culture and language. Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm an American patriot. Fuck the redcoats.
76 will become men's again.
Return of the friggin' Frog's gay. You think you're gonna stand on the throat of my freedom? We'll be coming at you guns a-blazing.
And there you go again.
I know, I can't stop. I can't stop myself.
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Notice,
meme.
people, I have not said that once. And he can't stop.
Yes.
Fucking the
It's,
most.
okay.
The people.
I don't know if I need to explain myself to you guys, but to the audience, to explain the reason why I constantly bring it up, it's because freedom is a very serious subject for me. And that's why when we talk about freedom of speech, I'm very serious about that. When we talk about freedom to protect yourself with various weapons, I'm very serious about that.
I wouldn't say weapons. I'd say implements or tools.
Yeah.
You can defend yourself with a screwdriver, as we saw in the UK, for example.
If I want to smash, if somebody comes and attacks me and I smash them over the head with an empty liquor bottle, I think I should have the right to.
No, I'm rather partial to. Personally, I'm rather partial to a claw hammer.
I have a
I'll throw
warhammer
a-
in my safe right now, actually.
I didn't even mean it.
Why is it in your safe?
Should be with you at all times.
Because because I live with my girlfriend, Mrs. Rimshi, and yeah. I like sleeping in the same bed as her, so I have to make compromises, but they are well worth it.
Does she not know the combination to your safe?
I think she does. But yeah, she does, but she doesn't open it all that often, so usually she has to ask me again.
Okay. So you're just making it harder for her to grab the claw hammer and smash you in the face.
Oh, no, it's not a claw hammer. I said war hammer.
Oh, I thought you said claw hammer. I was like, it's just a fucking hammer.
Nope, it's got a spike on the back, and it's got 5 spikes on the face of the war hammer, so it'll do some damage.
To be fair, a properly historical warhammer in terms of dimensions is a lot closer to a framing hammer than anything else. If you got one of those oversized things, I'm gonna hate you, Rimshi.
No, I mean it's a modernized version from United Cutlery, but I'll find a picture. It's more of a.
I think I know. I hate you so much right now. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh
Jesus!
I'm a snob. I'm a total snob when it comes to these things.
You are.
Keep in mind,
Cynic just got timed out for saying that I don't support free speech because I deleted his message where he spelled aluminium instead of aluminum. Thanks, Pavros.
Although, to be fair, I do have a Marine Corps NCO saber. Of course, of course, that's because I'm an NCO. Or I achieved a rank equal of NCO. But the funny thing is, on the blade it says China, so this
oh my
this USMC saber is made in China. It was a gift. I didn't buy it myself.
Purely decorative, then.
Oh yeah. No. Marine Corps sabers are decorative in general. I actually kind of want to commission a company to make a Marine Corps saber.
No,
that is
actually reminds
functional.
Me of a tangent, which is just to give an advice to the audience, which is instead of spending, like, if you're interested in getting a high quality blade, don't go for the brand names. If you're spending anything like upwards of $500 or something, you might as well try and find a local artisan. Just commission something. First of all, you're going to be putting money in the pocket of an artist, supporting a local businessman. Second, you'll probably be getting something as good or better than what you'd be ordering off of some website somewhere. And it's going to be something that's truly yours.
Yep. And to anybody that just doesn't care too much about that, I recommend, if you're going to buy a brand name, I recommend the brand Shop.
God damn it, Paul. Stop contradicting me.
Also,
grinder and a piece of
Rimshi, I know some blacksmiths, so I might talk to you about getting that commission.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd need the money first, and I'm also hopefully looking at either moving into an actual house or buying a house, the latter being preferred. I have
Yeah.
family that are realtors, and right now I'm just looking at information, but that stuff's gonna be it'll be nice. I'll be able to make a forge
Yeah, that's
and weld stuff, and I have
oh
plans for
goodness.
when I have access to a workshop, also known as a garage.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I did a lot of welding when I was in high school, but I haven't done it since.
Yeah, I actually just did welding on Tuesday as part of my lessons for my apprenticeship, and in doing so, I also taught some of the other students how to or other apprentices how to weld because I have experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
Yeah, metalworks is fascinating.
metalwork really is fascinating. The ability to turn a chunk of metal, whether into a blade, whether it be by material removal of material or full-on forging, is fascinating.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. If you're a fan of blades, you have to also, and by extension, become a fan of the process of making them.
I'm
You know,
actually
most
more of a
understand what
fan of the
makes a good one
process.
or a bad.
I'm
Yeah,
actually more of a
there's
fan
no.
of the process of making them than I am of the blades themselves.
Yeah, but you see, there again, because if you're an aficionado, there's a productive side to it. Which is not just people just being attractive to an object that's like a tool of violence, as some people would describe it, but more what can be a work of art.
Yeah.
There's a full legitimacy behind
I
it,
should,
just beyond utilitarian reasons, cultural,
try to.
aesthetical.
Yeah, I should try to find some of my metal art pieces that I made when I was in high school. Ugh.
Yeah, I actually bought a really nice knife up in the mountain range near me from
Mm-hmm.
a local artisan. Um,
Hey, that's the way to go.
yeah, it was a beautiful. It is a beautiful blade. It's got a blue handle, a dyed blue. The company is Chipaway Cutlery. I don't know if you've heard of them. I'd be surprised if you did.
WA,
Hmm?
WA, Chippewa, or
Chipa
Chipaway.
Chipaway, but it has it's got a Chippewa as the icon. It's Chipaway Cutlery.
Yeah.
Uses
Nope, I'm
Pakistan
not familiar.
steel.
I just broke my phone. Shit.
I'm
I have to have a
this is a
look.
beautiful knife. I'm gonna get a picture of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Share that with us.
yeah. Then I'm gonna just judge you and shit all over it. 'Cause that's what I do apparently.
That's all you do, Bar.
Bar, I've never seen any of your knives. I've
Yes,
shown
you.
I've
Yes,
shown you
you
my nice
have.
one.
Yeah, you have. You've seen the only blade I have, which I'm not gonna bring up right now. But we can go over it again. I'm not discussing what I own and don't own on this stream.
Oh, this
I
picture
will say
sucks.
that I used to own a lot of crap stuff that I completely got rid of. I decided whatever I was gonna have gonna be worthwhile. So I'm restarting my whole blade possession thing all over again.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure I've shown you. If not, we can go over it again.
Yeah.
Some
Oh wait,
things are not for.
you shot on me for my knife.
No, I
Sure
didn't.
you.
No, I did not. I did not. Jesus, man, you don't even remember those talks?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Okay.
I
We'll go
talk
over
to
it
a
again.
lot of people. Keep
By the
in
way.
mind, I listen to like
Oh my
10
god.
hours worth of podcasts per
Yeah, no,
day, and I talk to people all the time. So
See, now I feel betrayed that you were talking about knives to other people. See? I thought I was special.
I never said I talked about knives with other people. We're still getting married, right?
God damn
Engagement
it.
isn't off now, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's a deal breaker. What knife monogamy, god damn it.
I haven't talked to anybody else about knives. That's why I brought you in here, so we can talk about knives all together.
This isn't a poly-edge relationship.
Poly-edge.
God damn it.
Ignore the Amazon logo in the back there. I will have it up in a second.
That's fine, dude. You don't need to be just pulling it off on screen. Good luck consummating marriage with a knife. Thank you, Mother. You don't know me. Don't judge my culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. If you look on the stream, it should be there.
Oh, that is a nice little. God damn it! That's a thick guard.
He's impressed.
That thing would be thick.
No, there's a lot of material there. I guess because of the way it's laminated for the spacing detail. I know they're trying to do aesthetically, but
Well, we found a knife Bar's not
you got
shitting on.
You got a real thick knife.
well, the guard on it's thick. The blade, I can't tell by the grind. Got the whole classical clip point. How long is that anyway?
That is, you know, I would have to measure it. Give me a second. Let me grab mine.
It's about like 4 or 5 inches.
The overall length from tip to pommel is 12.5 inches. The blade itself from crossguard to tip is 7.25, and the sharpened section is roughly 6 inches.
Really good. I like the grind work on the edge, the false edge on top. Unless that's also sharpened, which case,
No, that's still. But the
then it's a false edge.
Yeah,
if it had an actual, like classic Bowie knives usually have that top part sharpened, in which case it would count as a swedge.
But the thickness of the metal in the blade itself is 0.135 inches, or 3.43 millimeters.
Any idea if it's a full tang knife?
I honestly don't know, but I don't intend to use this thing all that much. I would. Oh yes, actually it is. I stand corrected. It is full tang because I can see the end of the tang at the base of the pommel.
Oh, we got hammered then. I like scales on my blade stuff, so I can make sure it has a really good tang on it and as much metal on it as possible. If you're gonna use it, you better make sure it's structurally sound.
Yeah.
A lot of knife makers will try just in terms of cutting corners. Will make some on the cheap knives. They'll make the tangs as thin as possible.
But there is no way in hell I am bringing this knife to the UK.
Yeah, you're gonna have it confiscated for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you might probably get banned because they'll look into your history and see the shit you've done online.
They'll see that I'm prior military and be like, we don't want that here.
We might take over half the country before we wise up to it.
Oh dear God, it's one U.S. Marine.
No, that's France.
No. France would be, oh my God, it's one U.S. Coast Guardsman.
So you're saying the moment customs went through your bag, they're already putting their hands up?
No. They will have to think about it first.
Oh. Well, it's a really pretty knife, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found a knife that Bar actually approves of.
Oh,
Yeah,
aesthetically pleasing. As for,
Yeah, it's
I was gonna ask. Oh yeah, um, the geometry pattern on the handle, is that completely round or is it more of an oval?
It's more ovalized. It's not completely round.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. You don't want a completely round
And to
handle.
be fair, it is
Nice.
also actually natural antler. It's
Oh, it's
blue because
tinted
it's
antler,
dyed.
dyed antler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing the marbling there, and I was trying to figure out what kind of organic material it was. I was almost tempted to say bone, but I guess it
Which
is
is
antler.
true. Antler is bone.
Oh, there's a lot of very cool. What did they use for the spacers? Do you know?
It looks like,
Between the layers of metal. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. It looks like it could be a wood insert or it could be a leather of some sort. My money would be on the former, purely
Wood. Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
no,
You know.
it could be leather.
No, sometimes they've used leather, but to tint like that, I'm not. Yeah, but probably just half the audience is probably asleep by now. I love geeking out about this kind of thing, construction and all. There's a
yeah.
lot of really cool materials you can use that are both beautiful and utilitarian, especially when it comes to tradition. You'll find that traditional patterns came to be that way for a reason. Like you show
Very
people, for
appealing.
example, some things that are seemingly exotic, like say, for example, the Nepalese cookery. The curves there for a very specific reason, because the forward momentum of the blade to aid in chopping, and even how the knife is put together and whatnot. Whereas today you see a lot of like very garish designs which do not serve any kind of specific function. For example, serration put on blades at very odd places and in even weirder patterns. Not to say serrated blade doesn't have its place for use. Most things I've seen is just some very horrible combinations. Again, why, if you're a knife fan, you should just study as much as you can about it and figure out why things are the way they are. That's going to make a much better informed decision in what kind of blades you're going to keep.
An example
Yeah.
as to learning about knife creation, as weird
Mhm.
as it sounds, is AVE, or not AVE, Awe Me. But they have a thing where it's the, oh, what's it called? Uh, ref I can't even remember. Man at Arms Reforged, and it's got, they make
I
the more
I like.
traditional knives that they make, the ones that
Mhm.
Ilya makes are pretty fascinating.
That's their main blacksmith. The guy that pretty much did the earlier shows.
No,
Shows.
no, he's the guy who does the traditional katana style and
Mm.
actually is capable of forging stuff full form and not using
Hmm.
any sort of technology.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh yeah, there's a host of instructional videos you're gonna find. There's entire communities. There's, for example, bladeforums.com, which I'd recommend. Because talking to people who've been collecting and making knives for like decades now. Like American bladesmiths are like a whole cultural institution unto themselves.
Oh, they
I
are.
can't I
I
can't praise them
was.
enough. Like again, people have this fascination with Eastern bladesmithing and tools, but you even in your own backyard, you have people with a breadth of knowledge and technical expertise that it's
Yeah,
criminal not to appreciate.
I delved deep into the U.S. blade culture a while ago. Um,
These people are unsung heroes for sure.
so with that bar, is there anything extra that you want to show?
No, not really.
Okay,
Just
you
pleasure
gonna show
being here on
anything?
the show.
I have
Uh,
nothing extra to shill. I am I am good to go.
all right. So with that, we have been your Lesser Saints of Discord. We are on every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We end between 7 and 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Following up after this, head on over to the YouTube Saints channel. Tonight, we have the one, the only, the legendary Brad Warcock joining our boys. So be sure to tune into that. And everybody have a good night. And stay safe with your knives. And get good knives. And
One
always
last thing.
stand up for freedom. Yes?
If you enjoyed the transitions and the changes that were done to the format, thank Franman. He did most of this stuff for us. And
Oh yeah.
Yes, friend. Yes. Thank you, Franman. You've been a huge help.
have a good night,
And-
everyone.
Good
Yes,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good night. Stay safe.